Hello, welcome back.
Welcome.
Welcome back, bro. Welcome back to Freedom Expressed. As always, my name is Espoir Mado,
My name is Mado Janvier.
and we just want to welcome you back to another great conversation
Yes.
that we're about to have. It's been a couple of weeks since we've had another talk.
Mhm.
Obviously, due to this country and the whole world of busy. Yeah, we got very busy. We got caught up in some things, but I'm glad that we received this day to actually be able to um have a great conversation with people.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving was amazing. We ate well.
Yes. Hopefully, I don't know what you guys cook at home. I don't know if it's turkey, if it's lion, if it's I don't know what you guys cook.
Lion.
You got some families that you got families who be man. Listen, some people don't eat turkey. Maybe some people do duck. Some people do chimpanzees. I don't know. I don't judge. We don't judge.
We listen. We don't
we
judge.
listen. We don't judge. Exactly, bro. We listen. We don't judge. Some people do judge. But today just gonna be another great conversation. But how have you been?
I've been good. I've been processing. I feel like nowadays I'm living more present without expectation to be happy, so that when happiness comes, I don't have to maintenance it.
Wow.
I don't have to manipulate it into staying.
Mm-hmm. What does that look like?
I think it is, beautiful segue into our conversation today. I think it is living in first person, not living in third person.
Yeah.
Third person. So those of us that game or do video games, we have two motives of playing the game.
Yes.
So either we are the character in the game, whereby we're able to just see our hands as we move about. And then there's a third person view where either you're able to see your character in motion, or you can see yourself maybe through the lens of how the people see you. And I think for me, I'm adopting more of a lifestyle where I see myself as myself, not the way that I predict that people will see me.
Yeah. Why do you think the world specifically a lot of people struggle? That's one of the major things that they struggle with, or the people struggle with, is the whole thing of finding themselves or actually knowing who they are, right? Because in my opinion, I believe that's one of the root, the thing that needs to be for you to fully start working on self-progress, right? And actually living the life that you were created, right, initially. So what do you think that is? What do you think that's the thing that most people struggle with? What tempers it? Like what tempers this?
I think that's a really good question. I think the baseline of it is the fact that before you have an identity, you're given puzzle pieces to figure out who you are. So depending on who handed you those puzzle pieces, it draws up the image for you. But at the end of the day, it's handed to you.
Yes.
So until you break away from trying to get puzzle pieces from other people and not maturing into the mindset that you give yourself the puzzle pieces now, when you come to a certain age, you determine the image.
Yeah.
I think society nowadays is mostly focused on getting more puzzle pieces from people, getting from their ideas, their experiences, the way that they see the world. We see people as infallible, as they can't make mistakes. And so we want to be like them. And we are the ones that make mistakes, so we don't want to be like us. So until you sit in your shoes, in your body, live in first person, see from outside, not outside inside. I think we always have this problem.
What's the hidden gem? What's the hidden factor within, like you said, you mentioned that when we're young, right, we're given these puzzles depending on the family that we're from, depending on the culture and the religion that you're from. So those puzzles, those things that are set forth in front of you, right, obviously you didn't choose, you didn't have any choice into those things being presented.
That's true.
You were just presented by those things, right? So are they maybe certain restrictions, or I'm trying to find the proper word to use, but are there certain things that are there certain traps within those puzzles that confronts you from actually seeing who you are, or does that, for you to know who you are, you first need to kind of develop first and get to know the world, and then seeing, okay, maybe what this community, what this religion, what these people, where I'm from, maybe what they taught me, not everything was correct. What plays a factor for somebody to get there?
To get to the conclusion of living in first person.
Yeah.
I think, okay. We're about to take a journey now. Right.
As always.
What I'm learning is I need to now evaluate what I believe.
Okay.
Because my beliefs were given to me, but I don't have the conviction of those that gave it to me. So
okay,
you can feel like this is the right way to do something.
Yeah.
But the person that gave you the so-called right way to do it had a reason why they did it that way.
Okay.
You don't have that conviction. You just have, how can you say, that limitation that they gave to you.
Yes.
Don't go this far. Maybe because in their lifetime, somebody went that far and they were hurt.
Yes.
That internalized some pain. But that doesn't mean their story will be your story. Oof. And so when you live your life by people's yes and people's no's, when do you discover yours yes or your no? And so first person living gives you the opportunity to live a life that you can claim for your own.
Okay. Is that a life that you claim to be your own, or is it a life that, I guess this also, like, it's another question, but do you live the life that you claim now is yours, or do you live a life that initially was designed for you?
So in the beginning, everybody lives a life that's designed for them. You said something last time we were here. Everybody's in an environment.
Yes.
As a kid, you're in your parents' environment. And so whatever they were brought up with controls the energy and the way that they decide to navigate life. And because you're a kid, you're submitted to whatever they give you within that environment.
Yes.
That's third person living. Because that is the current stage where you have no say.
Okay.
When you evolve, you now have the opportunity to claim life or remain submitted to other people's environment. Now, when you claim it, this is the problem.
When you claim it. Yeah.
You are now responsible for whatever you claim.
Okay.
And in my opinion, I'm a Christian.
Yes.
So I submit my claim, my ownership, my authority to God.
Okay.
So I own nothing. I steward everything.
Yes.
And so stewardship is having to now take care of it.
Okay.
Making sure that everything is in good function. But at the end of the day, the responsibility of it, I give to God. The problem is most people don't give that responsibility to God or to something that can produce what is right in their life.
Okay.
They give it to people. They give it to social media. They give it to still their parents.
Yeah.
They'll give it to their boyfriend or girlfriend. They outsource their happiness to mitigate their internal pain instead of sitting with themselves and taking away that third person lens.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, because I think if you are raised in an environment and all you know is that environment, and that environment was created by certain people, a certain group, then most likely your thoughts and behavior and the way you act at things is going to look as of that, right? But once you get to a certain point in your life where you start to question things and you start to notice what's actually going wrong in your life, right? If it's like a repetition, then there is a thing you can't avoid of questioning that happens. That's always there, but you just like, maybe we just don't acknowledge it. That tells you, hey, this is not your environment.
Yeah.
It's almost like I forgot, there was a video I was watching that was giving an example of a zoo, right? Which they were saying that like a lion that was kept in captivity in the zoo, all he knows is the food that's been given, right? doesn't really know that it's the king of the jungle. It doesn't really know that he needs to go and hunt. He doesn't really know that outside of these walls, there's an endless possibilities, and it is the ruler. It's, like how prideful, how, how mighty it is. But because of the zoo that it's kept in, everything that's always been given to it, it's everything that a person's always went and catch. So the art of the lion not to hunt, he never learned it because he was always raised in an environment where he didn't have to hunt.
Wow.
Food was always brought up to him, right? But there's always something that's off, right? Which is why that's the reason why, like, majority of these, like, animals, you can't have them as pets, because as soon as you remove them and you put them in this other environment, slowly they're going to catch up. They're going to be like, wait a minute, I'm this powerful. I can do this. I can do this, right? So I feel like with us, even humans as well, there is, again, I'm a Christian as well, so I do believe that God did an incredible job, and we're perfectly made. And so I'm made with my environment that he was creating me with. My environment, I mean my body. You know what I mean? My body and my mind, soul, and spirit. That's my environment. It's perfectly designed how God made it. But I think because you said those puzzles that was introduced to me at a young age, right? These communities that I was able to be part of,
yes,
played a major factor, and they played walls that made this zoo, right, that I grew up in. But once I got to a certain point of intellectually wise, I was able to choose, like you said, to break free from this zoo, right? And now that, just like if I get sick, if an animal, if the lion gets sick in a zoo, there's a veterinarian
yes,
to go, right? So it was always somebody else's responsibility to fix that lion, to treat that lion.
Yeah.
But once the lion gets out and he goes into the jungle, it's on its own. When something happens, it needs to figure out a way to heal itself, right? So, and I think with us, it's the same thing. I feel like we got so comfortable with not knowing that we're trapped in certain places that we have never really fully discovered who we are. We have never fully lived the life that maybe was created for us, right? Maybe was the life that we have the freedom to choose and do, right? But yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that?
No, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you believe that we don't know, or do you believe that we're choosing to be ignorant?
I believe that we don't. Okay. I believe there's a certain point where we don't know, but I do believe there's a certain point that we don't know, but there's also a certain point where it becomes an ignorant thing, because at some point in your life, at some point in anybody's life, there's going to be signs that's going to come across. There's going to be evidence. There's going to be major signs.
Yeah.
So I do believe that, like you said, because of how we're starting, right? We're in this environment, where we're in this environment that was created for us by, like you said, these puzzles. And so, because if I'm a toddler and that's where I grew up, right? I don't know any better. I'm a kid, right? So at that point, I don't know. But there's a point where you come to, with the knowledge that's out there, with the access that we have now, then that's where it becomes like, now, okay, like it's an ignorant thing,
So, in hearing that, talk about the idea of the fear to claim that power. Because coming from an environment where maybe you haven't been allowed to, maybe everybody around you has talked down on you so much that just to feel powerful feels invalid. In your own life, how do you feel like you claim that power within yourself?
I mean, it's kind of goes back to, again, like what we spoke about last time. Who you are is everything you've ever learned. So it's like, if my fears, right, me being afraid to fully get to discover who I could potentially be,
yes,
that fear comes from what I know or what I've been taught my potential can be. What I've seen certain people in my community, some people, whatever that I'm at, can only exceed due to the systems that they're around. So there's certain systems that control, right? Mm-hmm. That control and dictates how far you can actually, that you can actually soar. And so our environment sometimes it plays a factor into what our strength, our weakness, our fears, our limit, right?
Yes.
Because of, for you to know that you can accomplish something, right? You first, like, in a sense, right? Really speaking, right? Honestly speaking, mm-hmm. You first had to see somebody get to a certain, somebody that looks like you, somebody that, has similar characteristics.
Exposure.
So somebody had to show you that, mm-hmm. like, this is possible, mm-hmm. right? Because due to the environment that we live in, right? It's the whole thing of why a lot of people idolize celebrities and actors and, athletes and stuff like that, because, like, somebody will see LeBron, somebody will see Michael Jordan or whatever, somebody will see Messi, and if it's somebody who has a similar background that they grew up in, kind of like them, be like, okay, he got there, it unlocks something, I can get there too.
Possibility.
Yeah, but also that's the same thing with fear, right? With fear, it's similar, because with fear, because of, or it might be inverted, it might be the opposite.
I'm tracking. Go ahead.
No, it might be the opposite, because with fear, our fear is based off of emotion, first of all, but also just like things that we either haven't confronted, or things that we are scared of, or things that might come to that shifts that does major shifting, major changes, okay, in our life and body. And so I feel like if we see somebody who's of like LeBron or Michael Jordan or Messi or whoever, any celebrity, right? I'm just like, I will never get there. But for me to have that fear is not because of that person. It's because of what my immediate
environment
it is.
Do you think that,
or specific statistics that says, only 5% of all college athletes gets to them, like, 1 or however 5% gets to the NBA, however the stats is. So those specific type of things I kind of like, man, listen, if I'm playing basketball, and I'm trying to get to the NBA, and they give me that side, there can either be two things. Some kid can either be motivated, be like, okay, I want to be one of those 5%. There's another person just like, 5%, nah, I'm good. I have a better chance into doing this other thing. So with fear, it's always, with fear and everything, it's always the factor, or it's always the environment of which we're in. But I think once you get to a certain level, that breaks, because you're not.
What breaks it?
What breaks it?
Yeah.
When you start discovering the true power that you possess.
Interesting.
When you start discovering, because I believe that nobody's better than anybody else. You can train to be better at something than anybody else, but in terms of how I was created, right? I have a brain, you have a brain. You know what I mean? I have a heart, you have a heart. Mm-hmm. But how the access you have to the information, yes, right? Some people get to the information quicker, so they know faster. They know, but that doesn't mean you don't have access to that information, or doesn't mean you don't have, or doesn't mean you can't get that information, or you can't get those tools, right? So I believe that if this person can get there, that's already proof that it's possible. I can go even beyond that now. I'm not even aiming at this person's level now. I'm aiming at a higher level now.
So in your opinion, is the rejection of fear something to do? Is that like a right course of action to reject fear outright? Or can we live with it?
You can live with fear, but that's...
Or should you live with it?
No.
So, in your opinion, is fear good or bad?
Both.
Okay, why is it both?
Because fear, there's a reason why we're talking about this last time, which you want to go skydiving.
I do want to go skydiving. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I need to prepare for this, man. But
I'll be in the arms of my Lord.
Like, fear stops me from going skydiving so I don't die. Fear stops me from, so there's a good thing. Sometimes fear stops you from doing certain outrageous things.
Does fear stop you?
Well, it does in a sense.
Tell me how.
Because it shows you, or it tells you, it convinces you that, hey, we're scared of this. You see, you're gonna go on that plane with that nothing but that little plastic little umbrella looking thing, and then you're gonna pull this little backpack, and then you know what I mean, like,
you're so dramatic.
I'm just saying, like,
it's not a plastic.
And then if you look at the ground where you about to fall,
oh my days,
so like fear, it unlocks every single like worst case scenario that could happen, and you're just like, yeah, no, you know what? No, I don't need to do that. I don't need to go skydiving. Like, I don't need to do that. There's an alternative. But it can also be bad in terms of it can prevent you from fully getting access to, right, the a freedom that you were looking for. In the same scenario.
Okay.
Freedom, it's bad because maybe for you to overcome your fear of heights, you have to jump out of that plane with that parachute, right? Because the parachute is designed to hold you. It's designed to actually help you to get slowly to the ground. But you have to trust, right? Not just the parachute, but like, it's a trust that you make between even the person that you're jumping with, right? So fear can stop you from actually fully overcoming your fear, or overcoming the thing that's been holding you back. So in the same example, I don't know if that answered your question.
It did, but now you gave me more questions.
Okay. First, talk about, like, okay, is fear a good thing to you or a bad thing?
So for me, fear is information.
Okay.
And there's a quote running around in social media that says, I never want to be the smartest person in the room.
Okay.
So think about your mind as people and your emotions as people. When you submit to fear, you're submitting to what you believe is the smartest person in the room. So they're just giving you, because you said it. You said it convinces you. You can only be convinced by somebody you believe is giving you, or something that you believe is giving you value greater than what you possess. Yeah. And therefore you trade that for this. Yeah. So now, like, just hearing you talk, right? The way I see fear is just information. Now, it's information about possibilities. Okay. That's not bad. Okay. This is an outcome that can happen. Things can turn out bad. You can be embarrassed. You can die. Yeah. But also on the flip side, I think highlighting and focusing narrowly only on the negative sides is why we abuse the information that fear gives us. And now we condemn it as bad. When at the end of the day, we are the deciding factors. Okay. We decide how to process information. Yeah. The club that I'm in a philosophy group. Yeah. And the quote was given that we do not react to events. Okay. We react to our judgments of events. Okay. And so whatever happens in life, the way that you, like you said, you're training, because there's people that you're being trained every day. Yes. The way you have trained yourself to perceive things is how you will perceive things. Yes. A tree only falls the way it leans. Yes. So if you're leaning always in the negative, you're viewing fear as negative, because you're viewing fear as negative, yes, not objective, because it just gives you possibilities. When you're mad, it gives you possibilities. Emotions give you information. Yeah. You attach judgment on those information, and then you now claim this is how you feel. Yeah. When it just gives you room to investigate things about yourself.
So, and then who acts in terms of, what controls fear?
You control fear. Fear is imagination.
So what does it hold so much power in people?
Because of the way that you now, okay. Hey, am I a scientist? No, I'm not. But like I said, we're not trying to train anybody. We're not teaching anybody. No. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
But the way I see fear, right? You don't choose to give fear. You choose to give fear meaning based on the experiences that you're in. Like, let's say, or you have gone through. Let's say I had a friend who dated this one girl. And he came back and told me all these horror stories, right? About how, girls of this culture, because that's what people do. When they date a certain culture, now they believe that everybody in the culture resembles that one person they dated. So he comes back and says, no, don't date people in this culture. He's giving you fear based on true experience. Now, if I perceive him to be somebody that's smarter than me, I will adopt his fear. I take it in. But you have to understand that it's a deal at the end of the day. He's selling you a story. You're buying the story.
What's the opposite of fear?
The opposite of fear is the opposite of fear, in my opinion, is bravery.
Courage. Me is joy. Right, joy and
why joy? That's a bit of a selection.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, it's joy is because joy, it's another emotion, or it's another feeling that makes you feel like happy and loved, and you in a great place in your mind, right? It puts you in a really nice. It gives you access to your good memories and your good. Right. And so, because I was thinking as you were speaking, I'm like, well, if joy is a feeling, right? Fear has to be a feeling as well, right?
1000%.
And so, because it's a feeling, I think now the question, and we're not trying to stay too much on it because we're gonna get back on track with our topic, but I think it's also good to but fear, because it's a feeling, and now it's become a thing where, like you said, is it a good feeling or a bad feeling, right? And or like what's the title of fear? Why is it there in the first place?
Yeah.
Right. Like who invite is that an accumulation of past traumas and bad whatever things that happened to you, or is it just something that always existed due to the world has this whole balance thing of yin and yang, and the good and bad, and, evil and what I'm talking about. So is there part of one of those systems, or is it just an emotion and a feeling that however you use it, that's how it acts, like. And I think that's what I'm getting from what you're saying.
Yeah, 1000%.
It's just like, if somehow I'm feeling anxious and I'm doing whatever, right? There's a memory that unlocks in my mind
that supports it.
That then somehow and this is a correlation I'm trying to see how that specific memory gets connected, or how that memory becomes a fear versus how another memory becomes joy.
Yeah. Okay. Example. When you were younger, a parent can tell a child, don't touch the hot stove.
Yes.
They don't listen, they touch the hot stove. As you get older, you'll forget that the stove, you'll forget the memory of touching the hot stove, but you will never forget the pain.
Yes.
And so you have a strong inclination on the inside of you that says, no, that thing's hot. I'm not touching it. it's built from the memory of the pain.
Yeah.
You forgot the memory, but you've retained the feeling of that memory.
Yes.
Likewise, fear. Fear is informational.
Yes.
I'll always say that.
Yeah.
And so when that information comes to you with no memory, but it has a certain power to it, where it's like my mother and my father had this type of relationship. And you said to yourself, I will never have this type of relationship. Now, years have passed, you're dating somebody new, and let's say your dad used to yell at your mom. And dad used to shock you on the inside. You don't even realize it. But your partner has one day, something happens, he yells at you or she yells at you. You freeze up and you tense, and your body rejects it outright. It's built from that experience in the past. You may have forgotten it. And that's what therapy does a lot of times for people. Therapy exposes the root. Like, hey, you're still reacting to this past situation in this present moment. And so you're not in the present moment. You're carrying more baggage to the situation than the situation demands.
So what role does fear play into you, or specific, what role does fear play into an individual to not get, or not fully, for them not to fully get to choose the life that they're, that they could have?
So the whole idea of living in first person allows you to sit presently with yourself. And when you're present, you know when something from the past is coming up because you're present. You're not running, you're not escaping. You're in the process of being in the process. But you're okay with it. Whereas people that are always rushing, always running, always trying to understand and manipulate outcomes, of course fear is going to be there. And not to say fear wouldn't be there anyway, because when you're in present moments, fear comes too. But the way that you navigate fear now, you say, okay, wow, I'm afraid. Man, this is a scary situation. Can I do it? Whereas when you're running and fear comes, you want to hide. Because you don't feel like you're ready. You don't feel like you can. You don't feel like, there's so much going on here because to be true, there's a lot going on in your life. You're not present.
Who is that first person?
That first person is and has always been the one that's in your shoes right now. So when you look down and you see your shoes, is the person that's in your shoes and what they're currently thinking and how they're currently seeing. When we mix up the past, so at times we may be in our shoes, but we're in our past self. And so we never touch down to where we're actually at.
So how do you, because you say like it's that person who's in your shoes, right? But for somebody to live in the first person, right? Where was the first person at? Like where were they at?
As in,
for me to live in first person, who's living at the moment? Who's currently like alive?
I would say, if I'm understanding the question correctly,
because for me to allow, for me to fully live in first person, that means this first person was, or took a back seat.
Yes.
So who was in the seat before the first person came?
I would say your shoulds. What should have happened?
Your what?
Your shoulds.
Okay, I thought you cursed for a minute.
Nah. So it would be like what you thought should have happened. What you wanted to happen. Okay. I would say the past or maybe the future. A lot of people can't live in the present because there's too much weight here. So they try to either live in the future happiness or they're stuck in past pain. And so when you're either there or there, you're not here. And so you automatically take a back seat. Yeah.
What are some consequences that comes with living in first person?
Consequences for living in first person, again, is the fact that you bear the weight of the moment. So when you're anxious, like I said, it's information. Right? So it's like, I am anxious. I have to now be okay with that. I can't run from it. And I think that's a lot of we don't know how to. And what I began to realize is, even in myself, when I don't know how to do something, I look for past either mirrored circumstances or situations where I can pull information from to teach me how to now navigate this new environment. And so that's a problem.
Yeah.
Because I'm dictating the future or the present from the past. And therefore, I'm repeating a cycle instead of creating or breaking one that should be broken.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very imperative just to be okay with not knowing and okay with just trying.
Yeah. Because it's a very interesting thing, and to live in first person, because I'm just trying to see how, like, the amount of baggage that you would have to, to let go of, to talk about the dissection part of creating that path for this first person to be there.
Not really a dissection, but I think it's just one word: grace. You have to have grace for yourself. And I call it the grace for the first time, because when you decide to live in first person, a lot of things you'll be doing for the first time, and they won't be perfect. But because we rob ourselves of that grace and we trade grace for perfection, the problem is you cannot be perfect when doing something for the first time. You may do it well, but will it be the best? It probably won't be.
I mean, but what about the process of, because maybe, like you said, maybe for, a lot of people who have never lived in a first person, right? They've always, obviously that means they've embodied some other masks or some other beings or some other things to rule, to dictate what they do and what they don't do. And that's how certain things tend to, become certain habits, certain addictions, certain whatever.
Yeah.
That creeps in, right? But once those things are already set, once somebody's already like this new or this other body that they've now let them use, right? That's using them. How do they let go of that? How do they let go of that? What is the fight of letting that thing go?
Yeah.
To fully, like you said, like giving themselves grace to fully be like, okay, like, no, right? Like, this is my life, this is my body, I'm gonna take control of it, this is my decision, this is knowing that, actually being fully aware of the contract you're now signing with you, and like specifically if you're now signing with God, right? I guess just talk about that. Like, how do you let go of the masks? How do you let go of the bad spirits? How do you let go of other bodies that had hold you captive?
Okay, so before you hit first person living, you were in third person. The problem with third person is you evaluate and you condition your life to live by other people's standards. And so the problem with that is you're constantly anticipating what they want from you in order for you to become that. That's why people pivot to drugs. That's why people can't be in their shoes, because to them, they're not enough. But you cannot prioritize thoughts you can't see. And that's the problem. We're running behind people's thoughts, but you can't see them. So when you're in that third person state, you can't give yourself grace because you're not in their mind, yet you believe you are. And so when you believe you are, you're putting yourself down before they even open their mouth. That's a problem. And so you rob yourself, again, because in your mind, you believe that these people are either smarter than you or what you should be. And so you give them, you outsource your affirmation, confirmation, and validation. You give that all to them. But you have to ask yourself, take a step back. Maybe you're going to begin this journey right now, right? First of all, where did you get those standards from?
Exactly.
What standards do you hold?
Exactly.
And have you evaluated those standards? And then 2, don't judge. We listen, we don't judge. We said that at the beginning, right? Don't judge them.
The new trend.
But when have you actually took a moment just to watch the people you're so fond of?
Yeah.
Just to watch how they live their life and ask yourself, not that these people are perfect, but am I really willing to outsource my validation, confirmation, affirmation in the hands of these people?
Exactly. Like, how far is the lie you tell yourself become the truth, the new truth of you? Right? Like, like, it's like,
oh boy,
like, how far does the,
say it again. Say it again. No, say it again.
No, like, how far do you go, right? How far do you go with the lie, that lie now becomes the truth that you're now living, and then you completely forgot that originally that was this was a lie, that so yeah, like, how far does that go? And then this now new truth of yours is your new way of seeing the world. It's how you seeing the world is. So it's like, if it's like, you know how they say, like, all dogs are colorblind?
Yeah, I like dogs, but we'll continue.
Dogs are colorblind.
Okay.
And so, but imagine if there was a new study, research, and they were able to color correct, right, the dog's vision, right? Or it's almost like when a blind person sees for the first time, right? When a deaf person hears for the first time, right? I can only imagine what that would like be. So certain things that we take for granted, somebody else wishing, like, man, like, if only I could, like, to them, they're always seen in black and white. They've never seen what a sunflower looks like. They don't know what the sun looks like. They don't know what red. They don't know any, the color that the creator put. This is a canvas. They don't know any of that. So I can only imagine what that will feel like whenever they fully see for the first time. And I think that's the joy that happens when you fully, all of your three beings now become the actual one, the whole three in one, right? It's like, it's not mind, body, and spirit. It's one. It's all collective. They're all designed to work together. So when that happens, there's a beauty, you truly get to see, wow, okay, like, this is how my creator actually created me. This is how I was meant to live life. And so there's things now that were stepping tools in front of you. These things are now that were hills and all these traps that were in front of you, now they're no longer traps. Because you realize, I don't have to go this way. I'm going to get my shovel. I'm going to get my axe. I'm going to get my machete. I'm going to curve a new path. I'm going to go this way. Now, that path, it's nothing but a forest. There's not even a concrete. It's nothing but a forest with animals and a whole bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah.
But once you fully get to discover yourself and you fully get to see what you're able to do, right? What's your possibility? You know that, okay, I'm going to literally curve my own path.
Espoir.
Yes.
This, I don't know if you know what you just said here, because you just brought up a whole new perspective on my brain. The idea that when the spirit communicates something to you, because it's your spirit, but because you're not in your shoes, by the time it hits your mind, if you're in third person, you will miscommunicate it to your body.
Wow.
And completely miss your truth.
Wow, completely miss it. Completely miss it.
That's
wow.
So you never really get to live as yourself.
No.
And even when yourself is talking to yourself, you hear it through the voice of other people.
Exactly. But and also, like, when he gets to the mind, right? When from the spiritual to the mind, before he fully gets to the body, the mind also, it's an AI of a program of its own. So if there isn't any shift in the mind, then the message goes across and the body does what the spirit tells it. If we make the mind present to obey the spirit, but if we don't, the mind flips it and it counterfeits and it creates this new fake version of what the original thing was.
Wow.
And then you are now you're doing what you were supposed to do, but now it's temporary instead of being eternal. You know?
So you live as yourself temporarily.
That's
and scary.
And you, when that ends, you're reverting back to those masks and those other things. You revert back to, you know, that bottle. You revert back to that you know, to the smoke. You revert back to whatever addiction, to whatever thing, because you've only lived your true purpose temporarily.
And this is why I truly believe, going back to our previous first conversation that we started with, fear, anxiety, depression, these are all information.
Exactly.
Because it's trying to tell you something about you, that the message is not hidden home.
No.
And if it can't communicate to you through your mind, it will communicate to you through your emotions.
100%.
Either way, it's trying to tell you something.
Yes.
But the more you run from it, the more... When you don't know yourself, you seek your own destruction because you destroy yourself to keep up the mindset that you have from others. So you never claim your own brain. You have to destroy something. You can't hold two. You cannot hold two minds.
You can't serve two masters.
You can't. So either you hold what you are, or you hold what you believe they want you to be.
Yes.
But you can't hold both.
And the fact there's some people who been in their pain for the longest time, and their body got used to the pain, and they've adapted to the pain, and they've made a house. They built a house on they live rent free in their pain.
Wow.
You know, because they don't know any. It's not that they don't know, and that's the part that I'm trying to find out. I don't know if it's not that they don't know, but it's just like, this is my comfort. I know this pain now. I've been dealing with this for the longest time. I'm comfortable with this. If I stop this thing, I don't know what's ahead.
Yeah.
That's more scary than what I'm going through right now. Even though this thing is killing you slowly, but what's ahead, because you don't know what that place is, because you don't have that faith, you're scared of that more than you are that pain. So you don't mind killing yourself. You don't mind staying in that place. Because at least this place, I'm familiar with this.
Yeah.
I know how this goes. I'm going to be depressed. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go through this thing. And then after a while, it's going to go away. But it's going to come back again. So like, I'm okay with that. But I'm not okay with what's to come because I don't know what that is. That's very dangerous.
No. It is, because you're trading what you are for what you've learned to navigate.
Exactly.
But what you learned to navigate was based on what was given to you.
Exactly.
And so this is why you need to evaluate and instigate the environments in the way that your convictions are built. Because as much as you love your parents, God willing, they were the ones that overcame their limitations. But if they weren't, then they're giving you their limitations. And your no's now become what they refuse to battle.
Yes. Exactly.
And what they refuse to battle, you take on as truth. Like you said, you're lying to yourself. And then you lie to yourself for so long, the lie becomes the truth. You can only give what you hold. I can't give you something I don't have in my hands. No. So if I have a truth that was built on a lie, I will give that to my kids. And if my kids do not come to a place where they clear their mind so that the spirit cannot talk to the mind and the body can follow, they will now lie to their own kids. And now you think about generational strongholds.
That is crazy.
That's what that is.
Crazy. Yeah. Bro, it's like the example that came in my mind is, imagine if I had a rope and I tie a knot, and then I give it to you and you tie a knot.
Yeah.
On the exact same spot. And then you give it to at least like 10,000 people, 100,000 people. This is your generation. 100,000 people plus people had to exist for you to be here, right? Like, and this is just like the incredible way how God works. Millions of people had to exist for you to be here. Thousands of people. So all those, if they're not, every single one of those people also have their struggles.
Yes.
They have their habits. They have their thing. Every single person tied their knot on that rope. And now it's up to you. You can tie another knot, but because you're now dealing with this DNA ancestry thing that you don't know that it's ancestry, it is up to you for you to now start to untie those knots. It's going to take you a while, but you have to untie those knots so you can fully see the proper, you can use the rope the proper way without any, knots stuff on it. Do you know what I mean? So, but when somebody sees those knots, they're just like, hey, listen, my dad struggled with this. This is just how we do it.
Yeah.
My grandfather did the same thing. So this is how we do it. My great-grandfather, just like it becomes a thing where, but some people, at least those people know. But some people don't even know.
No.
Some people don't even know that probably what they're going through is not even them.
No.
It's their grandmother who's going through this thing. They don't even know that it might not be them actually going through it. It might be somebody from their lineage who still like struggles with this, even though they're past. But because of DNA, because of how traits works, because of how, if they can pass down to you your brown eyes, your blue eyes, guess what they can also pass down to you?
Yes. Oh my days.
You know what I mean? Traits, right? If they can pass down to you the physical and all these things, what about the mind? What about the mental and the emotional? And they can also pass down to you, right? There's not a diagnose to diagnose the mind and how messed up it is. I mean, we've got psychiatrists, we've got all these other people, but what you're going through, maybe you're not going through it. Maybe somebody in your lineage is going through it. You're just now suffering the consequences of what they did. But it's up to you now to stop that, because if you want to have kids, if you're trying to, because if you're not being careful, you guys are going to produce these brand new beautiful kids, but now you just pass down this other trait as well.
And so I was having a conversation with my sister, right? And we were talking about these type of traditions and generational cycles.